Hey friends, hello, it's Lisa with Hand Stamped with Lisa Preto. Welcome. I'm coming to you no makeup. It's a no makeup day here. And I did shower, wash my hair, but I have new headshots being taken tomorrow. And so the day before I go in and they do your hair, they do your makeup, all of those things. I always like to let my skin breathe a little bit. So you are seeing me exceedingly fresh-faced today. So apologies if that was a little scary for you today. Welcome. So we are doing simple stamping. It's Monday simple stamping on a Tuesday because it just, it was a weekend. There was a lot of stuff that went on. Things were heavy, and I just felt like I needed a little space before I could come to you with all of the fun. So simple stamping. So let's talk about simple stamping. To me, simple stamping means like easy. I'm not overthinking it. Usually not very technique driven. But one of the things that I have found, and one of the things I'm trying to get really better at, is that oftentimes what will happen is when I'm cutting cardstock and things and I'm making projects, whatever is like left gets set aside. And so oftentimes nothing happens to those things. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I even end up throwing away my cardstock that I'm just like, oh, it's bits and pieces, and I'm overwhelmed. Like, I'm just overwhelmed. So what I'm doing is I'm creating like a place to put the cardstock when I'm done creating projects. Like, this is like, I'm going to dive back into this. And so I've been like, okay, let's see what's in there. And so that's what my simple stamping is today. My simple stamping for today is just bits and bobs from what I had laying in my thing that I just pulled out and threw together. Like, so super easy. Like, didn't do anything in particular, just like went with what I had. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what I've got for you today. And I think the key thing that what I would tell you is it doesn't have to be fancy, right? Like, it doesn't have to be fancy when we're making cards. It can be really simple. So I had this card base. I'm going to say this is probably garden green, maybe mossy meadow. So not even really sure what green it is, but it was scored and cut. And so I'm like, hey, let's go with that. So that is what I'm going with. And then I have some pieces of designer series paper. I had been playing with Nature's Symphony. My card class for this month is Nature's Walk and Nature's Symphony. So I had bits and pieces left, but I had a whole set of like 2x4 pieces. And so I just took them and I cut them in half and I created little squares. And I've actually got some more here so that I'm going to be able to create a couple more cards just like this. So I've got those pieces that I found sitting in my stash. I found this little piece of, I think it's boho blue or one of our blues, kind of that bluey gray. I think it goes along with that designer series paper. And then I found like, here's this random leaf also cut in the same thing. And I'm like, all right, I should be able to come up with something with all of those. Now I'm not going to worry about the inside. Obviously this inside, we love a piece of basic white cardstock in front on the inside so that we can write our sentiment, maybe put a little leaf on there so it all coordinates, but just from the beginning. So again, just things that I'm finding in my paper stash. And so I highly recommend keeping those things. And one of the things I know that I saw somebody do is like when they're working on projects with a particular set of designer series paper is put all of your bits and bobs from those projects in the little package of that designer series paper. And so that way you have like all the little cutouts and all the little pieces of paper and all of those scraps in there already. So you can just pull that out and kind of see what you want to come up with. So let me just show you kind of what I thought. So I've got this piece, and if I was going to be fancy, you could definitely run this through our die cut it machine with an embossing folder, give it a little bit more texture. But I feel like what I have here, I feel like I've got quite a bit of texture in this Nature's Symphony. And so I was like, what about if I just layered these guys and like this? Like, what if I just like created like a haphazard layered, very just whimsical there? And then I laid that guy on there. That to me looks like a really cute start of a card. So I'm like, all right, let's go with that. And I think the only other thing it really needs is a greeting. And so I just went with, I'm like, all right, well, if I'm using all of these things from that Nature's Symphony sweet, I'm just going to pull out that stamp set. And so I just grabbed a greeting from here. Obviously, you could use any of them. I think it'd be really cute. But this is what I kind of came up with. I'm like, I have all of these pieces just sitting here, so let's just put that together. So again, just a good reminder, use what you've got. It's always fun to get new things, and it's always fun to cut in. Well, I know some of you do not love cutting into a new piece of designer series paper. It makes you a little anxious, but I'm just like, I know that for most of us, we probably have so many things laying around in our craft rooms or where we craft that we don't really need a ton of new things all the time, right? We can really work with some of those pieces that are laying around so that we get more use out of them. Also really great, like when I was first started stamping, particularly with Stampin' Up, I had little kids, and so all of my little pieces, I would give them along with, you know, whatever I had that I was like, oh, I'm not using this, or I've got too much of that. I would always give it to the kiddos and have them, you know, be creating something really fun of their own. So that was always really cool too. So it's one of those things that I know we can be like hoarders, but you do want to keep all of those things and give them a good home and repurpose them so that we can feel like we're, you know, getting our money's worth out of all of the things that we have and we're using. So we're just going to go ahead, put a little bit more adhesive on here, put this guy in the middle. But all of those pieces, also if you do like card ministries, I mean, what a great thing to be able to take and have people create a little bit more of their own. I know typically, like when I was out doing demonstrations and things like that, or in-home workshops, I was very particular about what people created, mostly because I just wanted people to have a good crafting experience. And I knew that if they went too far off of what I was sharing, that what they were going to create wasn't going to be quite as good, and then they were going to be frustrated, particularly if they hadn't crafted before. I always felt like I wanted them to leave with something that was like, oh, look at how pretty this is. This is better than I thought I could do. But then once you start getting people who are a little bit more experienced, it's really fun to have them have a little bit more leeway with their projects. And so keeping that little bit of scraps or bits and bobs, as I like to call it, gives them a chance to do a little bit of things on their own and create a little bit something with a little bit more personality. So you can see there, do you guys, it's just super, super simple, really easy. I haven't even added any dimension to it. So again, very simple card, just using the scraps that I've had laying around the studio. And so I'm going to come in now, and I'm going to come in with my greeting. I'm going to go with Secret C. I love this as a dark, as a really good dark ink. I just think it looks really great. It's not as harsh as maybe like a Memento Black or something like that. It's dark without being harsh is kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to say there. So I've got my little greeting here, so we'll get that ink out of the way so I don't get it all over myself. And then, so I'm just going to take this one and I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to give this guy a little chop here, just so that I have it a little bit more even. I'm not good. Do not ask me to do this with a scissors. I will fail miserably. Cutting a straight line with a scissors, never going to happen, right? Way, way, way too hard. So you can see I've got that. And I've got this little bit, so I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to go ahead, make myself a little bit of a diagonal end here. So we've got that going on. This I am going to pop up on a couple of dimensionals. Let me find where I put them. So we'll pop that up on a couple of dimensionals. It'll also cover a little bit of our work. I don't like that naked tail there. I think that looks a little undone. So we're just going to cover him up. So we'll come here and cover that up there. And then I'm just going to come in with a couple of embellishments here. And so I've got so many great options here. What do I want to do? Let's go with these blue ones. I like these blue ones. Also, yes, I do have my nails done today. I feel like I should get like bonus points every time I have my nails done for you guys. Mostly the reason they're done is because I do have that photo shoot tomorrow, and the camera will always tell when you don't have things that are quite so, right? All right, and so that is my super simple card, our Monday simple stamping on a Tuesday. But again, just with pieces that I had laying around on my desk from working with that suite. So again, when you're working with a suite and you're cutting things out, everything that you have left, put back in that designer series paper package, and that way what's going to happen is you're going to have this accumulation of all of these little pieces, and then you can just pull them out, and it makes putting together a card so easy. So that is what I have for you guys today. I will be back tomorrow with something a little bit more fun. It will be post photo shoot, so I will be very dolled up. There will probably be false eyelashes involved. So if you look at today and you look at tomorrow, I probably will not even look like the same person. I trust that they are going to do a very good job on that. So thanks for joining me today, you guys. Make it a great one.